Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Blueprints Banter. I am Steve Cona, President and CEO of ABC Florida Gulf Coast Chapter, and today I am honored to be joined by the former mayor of Tampa, Bob Buckhorn. Bob, welcome.
Steve, it's good to be here.
Yes, sir. So I bet you didn't even know, but Shoemaker is an ABC member. You want to talk about what you've been doing since you've been mayor?
Sure. Yeah, when I left mayor, having termed out in 2019, I took about a year off because I had no hobbies. My hobby was work. And so I spent a year just kind of decompressing and getting hobbies. But then I realized I'm not cut out to just do hobbies. And so I joined Shoemaker Advisors, and Shoemaker Advisors is a part of Shoemaker Loop and Kendrick, which is an AM Law top 200 firm, law firm. And on the advisor side, we do public policy, we do public projects. We have a lobbying firm in Tallahassee and a lobbying operation in DC. I don't do that, but we have people who do. And so it's been a great opportunity at the intersection of public policy, public affairs, and the law. And so we've been busy on big projects around Tampa. It's a lot of what I was doing as mayor.
Right.
And it's been pretty exciting. I've enjoyed it for the last 3 years.
So let's kind of talk about your time as mayor, and we'll start off. So I started at ABC in 2007, just when you were starting to ramp up and start thinking about running for mayor. And then all of a sudden the bottom dropped out in 2008 and 2009, and we faced a major economic downturn, and you had to lead us through the Great Recession. And what leadership lessons did you learn from that?
Yeah, that was a painful time for our city, Steve. It was a painful time for your industry and for your members. This community literally had been knocked flat by that recession. Companies were closing. There were some 4,000 homes in some state of mortgage distress. Our young people were fleeing for other cities. Our days looked numbered. Mm-hmm. And when I came in 2011, we literally were facing a $30 million deficit. That wasn't Mayor Iorio's fault. It was just how far the tax revenues had plummeted.
Right.
And so we set about stabilizing the budget, but more importantly, trying to figure out how we could inspire this community to believe not in what they were experiencing and what they were seeing, but to believe in what we could be, and that we were going to get off that mat together, and we were going to get up, and we were going to drive that agenda and drive that narrative, working every day to get to that promised land.
Right.
And so throughout that, lessons of tenacity, lessons of resilience, lessons of stick-to-itiveness, lessons of never really being willing to settle for mediocrity, lessons about tenacity in terms of getting up off the mat and not willing to stay down and say, I quit.
Right.
And so throughout that 8-year period, every day we were in the fight. Fighting for talent, fighting for job relocations, fighting for major events like the Bollywood Awards or the Super Bowls or college football national championships or the Republican National Convention. So for those 8 years, we put the eye black on every day and got in the fight. While at the same time, every year, I had to give every department a haircut. We had to keep the employee count down, because in local government, it's always personnel costs that will get you. We had to make sure that we kept funding the police and the fire department at adequate levels when cities around the country were closing fire stations and laying off cops. We didn't. We didn't do any of that. We did not get back to 2019 or to 2009 property tax revenues until 2019.
Crazy.
So throughout my entire time as the mayor, in spite of all the progress that we made as a city, and the transformation of the city, we had no money.
Yeah.
So it was literally duct tape and spit and just hard work, finding creative ways to get things done.
Yep.
I don't know that I want to go through that again.
Right.
But I can tell you we're a better city because of it.
Oh, 100%. And I think, people ask me how were the Buckhorn years as mayor? And I was like, it was our renaissance. Yeah. Quite honestly. We have built something now where people want to be here. People want to live here. And with that comes a whole new set of challenges. So when you talk about how do we create the infrastructure that's necessary to deliver on what we promised people when they came here?
It's amazing because I have that conversation every day with people. people are so proud of the transformation of this city. They're so proud that young people are flocking here, that their kids and grandkids aren't having to leave to go to Charlotte or Austin. But there's also some pain points.
Yep.
And those are products of our success, Steve, not of our failures. Those are products of us being a growing city and a city that is on the map and a city that is a destination. Those aren't the products of a dying city. So I'd rather have these challenges than those that we almost lived through 10 years ago.
Yep.
So whether it's transportation, whether it's infrastructure repairs, whether it's water and sewer issues, whether it's potholes, whether it's traffic.
Yep.
Those are the things that people are feeling now because we have become so successful. And those are issues that whoever the next mayor is going to have to deal with and be very candid about it in terms of the resources available, how much it's going to cost. But we got to fix it.
Yep.
I mean, we've got to deal with that. Otherwise, the quality of life that attracted a lot of people here, quality of life that you and I have enjoyed for decades, will become problematic.
I think from the construction side, we had a boom, and we're still in a boom because people, infrastructure hasn't caught up. People are still coming here. There's still a lot of investment. I think one of the challenges that I think we're facing as an industry, and it's not just in Tampa, it's statewide, is permitting. Mm-hmm. And, for us, we know, land use and how long it takes for a piece of property to get the okay to build. At that point, once it's okay to build, we need to fast track that. So when people ask me all the time, they're like, well, what can we do for workforce development? Speed to permit. Mm-hmm. What can we do for economic development? Speed to permit.
Affordable housing. Right. Getting it to market faster.
Right. All of that. So so that's a big concern. And I think statewide, we've looked at efforts to see how can we make this easier for local governments to be able to handle the permitting that we're going to need. So what are your thoughts?
It's funny, and you and I, this will be deja vu.
Right.
When I came in 2011, the permitting process was in a similar condition. It just wasn't working. And so I put together a committee of which you were a big part of it. It was one of the first things that I did as the mayor. I'm like, Steve, I need you on this committee, and I need you to speak for the industry because we've got to blow this process up and fix it.
Right.
And we did.
And we did.
Our permitting process became the model for how things, and there's always going to be challenges.
Sure.
But the model for how things done as opposed to the poster child for how not to do it. I'm going to have to come back in and do that again.
Yeah.
Back then, I used to tell our people, because we were in such dire financial straits, and Mayor Iorio had reduced the city workforce by 800 and some people. So we had already cut all of the fat that was in city government. We were cutting into muscle at that point.
Right.
So I would tell our folks, we can't cut our way out of this problem. We have to grow our way out. And the only way we grow our way out is to get product out there getting built, steel getting thrown up, houses being built, people being hired, companies growing, and getting these permits out because time is money to somebody who's carrying a multi-million-dollar loan.
Right.
That interest clock is ticking every day.
Yep.
And so I think we're going to have to go back in and do that again for different reasons. Part of it is culture. Part of it is the employees knowing that the boss is watching and that it's a priority for the mayor. Part of it is the systems. You remember we brought in a Acela and made it so much more convenient for people to pull permits online without having to go downtown. We brought all the departments into one location so that they literally, folks didn't have to take their plans all over town to different agencies and get conflicting opinions and conflicting responses. And so we've got to do that again and get that process where it is a value to the people who pay our salaries.
Right.
That we're in the customer service business and our job is to help people be successful, help folks pulling permits get to yes, not finding every reason to say no just because we can.
Right. Well, and then we have to realize that the revenue comes from the building being done.
That's how you raise taxes. That's how you get taxes.
That's where the revenue is. The permitting stuff is, it's nominal. It just, funds the department. But the money for the city comes from when the building is complete. And I think if you have that mindset, I think it makes it a lot easier. And let's be honest, technology now is way better. So if we incorporate AI and plan review, and we can get through this process a lot faster. We just have to be willing to, adopt it.
I saw an example, it was in San Francisco, which has close proximity to Stanford University, where Stanford and the city of San Francisco combined using AI to look at every regulation in the city's code books, of which there are thousands, many of which are antiquated and obsolete. And so AI allowed them to go through and create a much more concise permitting process that I think could be replicated anywhere in the country using the technology that we now have, that we didn't have even 10 years ago.
Right, yeah. And I think that investment will help. And I think, hopefully, the next mayor, this obviously will be a priority. And because unless we fix that, we're going to be at a stalemate.
We will, and we will become less attractive for investment.
Yep.
And trust me, the capital markets pay attention to local
Sure they do.
governments, whether it's local government dysfunction or drama or systems that don't work.
Yep.
They pay attention to that.
So there's a lot of buzz about you possibly running for mayor in 2027.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard.
Somebody told me something about that.
So what's driving you to step back in?
The job's not done. And we're on such an amazing trajectory. And the transformation of this city, even though the city building business is never finished, I think the trajectory that we are on and where we could go as a city is unprecedented. I'm not willing to let all of the hard work by a lot of us that got us to this point fall by the wayside, either in the hands of the wrong person or if we lose our edge. What I learned as the mayor is if you don't get up every day as the mayor and recognize that you're in competition for jobs, you're in competition for corporate relocations, you're in competition for media, you're in competition with other emerging Sunbelt cities that are looking to knock you off your perch, just like we did to Charlotte, North Carolina, and to some of the other cities. That if you're not getting up every day and realizing that, you're going to get knocked off your perch. And so, yeah, we have challenges, but we have so much capacity for great things to occur here.
Yep.
I mean, if you look at the nodes, if you will, whether it's Water Street and Water Street Phase 2, connecting to Channelside, connecting to what Darrell Shaw is doing in Gasworks, the renaissance of Ybor City, moving all the way across to see what Casey Ellison is doing at the YMCA project, to building out Tampa Armature, to finishing the Riverwalk on the west side of the Hillsborough River, to see the amazing transformation of the North Hyde Park area with West River and Rome Yard. And there's going to be a Publix that's opening up at Rome or at North Boulevard and Main Street in about a month. Whoever would have thought?
Whoever would have thought?
In the middle of what was a nasty, dangerous public housing project, that Publix is now going to be in there. So the transformation's never done. I mean, I had a great run. I went out at the top of my game. I was very fortunate to preside over an amazing period of Tampa's history. But I got another tour of duty left in me.
Yep.
And I'm going to fix what's broken. We're going to write those next chapters. I'm going to groom that next generation of leadership that I can pass the torch to. Mm-hmm. Because I'm not doing this when I'm 80 years old. I mean, I'm just not.
Right.
I could do another tour of duty and then I can go home.
Yep.
And this city's trajectory, I think, will be cemented forevermore.
Yep.
And we can become that place in America that we are entirely capable of being.
Yeah, I think we are right on the cusp.
We are.
And I think that, we're already a great place to be, but I think, with a little bit more, focus and energy, I think sky's the limit for our region. Because nobody wants to go. I mean, be honest, this is the place where people want to come in Florida.
In the Southeast.
Yep.
I mean, Steve, I think if we do this right and we deal with some of the challenges, and we can talk about transportation, which is the biggest, we could be the economic engine that drives the Southeast United States, south of Atlanta. And so for our kids and our grandkids, they'll never have to leave here. I mean, they can stay here and raise their families here. And what has happened over the last decade is, as opposed to being a donor city of our talent to other cities, we've become the place where they want to be. And so throughout the Southeast, at any of the universities or any young people who are looking to start their adult lives, Tampa is the top of mind for everybody. And that's a really cool place to be in.
Yep.
And it surely wasn't that way when you and I started
You're
in
right.
2011.
You're right. Let's close on transportation before we end up. So I mean, obviously traffic is a challenge, but let's close with what are some ideas and how are we going to fix it?
Well, if we don't fix it, it will be our Achilles heel. It has been, will be, and will continue to be. If we don't deal with this, we could end up like Atlanta, choking on our own growth. It's expensive. It costs money, and it requires a commitment of the voters to fund these improvements.
Right.
And so when I left office in 2019, just having passed the All for Transportation initiative, I thought, okay, we're on our way now. We now have a dedicated revenue source to do big transportation projects because you can't pay as you go. Local government doesn't have the ability to do big projects. And so we need that dedicated funding source. So I think we're going to end up having to go back to the voters at some point and get that passed. Because in the absence of that, all we're doing is piecemealing it and prolonging the problem.
Right.
And it's got to be multimodal. It can't just be building roads and building interstate. You know, for the urban areas, mass transit's got to be part of that discussion.
Sure.
We got to have a bus system that actually works. With Brightline coming in from Orlando, probably the terminus would be in Ybor City. You got to find a way to link up.
Sure.
That. We got to extend the trolley so that it's a true, circle. Running up Tampa Street to Armature, then maybe over 7th Avenue or Palm into Ybor to the Brightline station. So it's a complete route. There's options, but we got to be serious about what we're willing to do and what we're willing to pay to do it.
Yep. No, you're exactly right. Well, Bob, I can't thank you enough for being here today.
This is great, Steve. It's always good to see you.
And we look forward to doing a lot of work, and we wish you the best of luck if you decide to jump into this thing again, and we wish you the best.
I'm just a hard-headed Irish guy, so,
And I'm a hard-headed Italian, so we make it.
They've already turned my hair white, so there's nothing they can do to me.
That's right. That's right. Thank you for being here, and thank you for joining us on Blueprints and Banter. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you next time.